Hi there, this is me again coming to you with another fireside chat without the fire. It is January 2nd of the brand new year. Brand new year, brand new possibilities. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and continue on with a chit chat about everything under the sun. No particular agenda, just chit chat. But I was left off, I think, last time talking about my mom being a virtuous woman, and then I started going on off on a tangent talking about how she's been there for all her grandkids and stuff and all that kind of thing and for their births and stuff. But I do want to just mention, like I said, I think my mom has been a good example, a good epitome of what a woman is and how you're supposed to conduct yourself, carry yourself, be a good support person. She's patient, she's kind, she's loving, she's a rock, she's a strong woman, and she has been a good example to all of us girls that she raised. My mom was the kind of one, she dad would be the provider and the protector, and mom was the one who made the house a home. You know, you have a house, but it needs to be a home. And when you got all these kids that she was raising, it was 7 of us kids. And then she was taking care of her mom at a period of time too. Her mom came to live with us after after her dad died. My granddad, when he died, my grandmother came to live with us. So she was like one of the sandwich generation. She was taking care of an elder. She was taking care of her mom, and then she was also taking care of the kids. And so when you got all that going on in your house, you got to have some organization. And my mom really did have good organizational skills. She was always patient and supportive and all that kind of stuff. She was always involved. Like when we had school projects to do and things like that. I mean, Project Pride and all kinds of stuff that you used to do. Mom was very creative, and she would help us put together our little projects so we can get them ready for school and enter them in contests and stuff like that. And also, when you have a big family, another thing that my mom used to do is she used to plan ahead. She used to be always organized. And so I can remember when we were younger. I remember like when we lived in Detroit and stuff like that. She had like a little sewing room. And inside that room, I can remember her all like she had sewing machine in that, it was her sewing room, and then so she used to do a lot of sewing and stuff. I always wanted to learn how to use a sewing machine, but when we had home economics, I was able to use the sewing, hand sewing. So they used to flip you for a part of the semester. You do the hand sewing, and then they would switch you over to do the sewing machine part. But I did the hand sewing. But then when it was time for us to switch over and learn how to use the sewing machine, we moved. So I never learned to use the sewing machine. I remember one of the early 20s, I went ahead and bought me one of those sewing machines. You know, the sewing machine with the desk, and you open, push it up, and then the sewing machine is on top, and then you can turn it down, and then it's just big desk. I remember buying one of those things for myself, and I was gonna learn how to use sewing machine. Never did. So till this day, I ain't know how to use sewing machine, but that's okay. My mom used to do it, and she used to do all kinds of sewing. She used to make up these things and make little fashion things. And I remember some things that she used to make up, and then we would wear. But she was so. And she had the sewing room, and then all through the summer, I remember she used to be ironing, and she would hang out clothes up on the little wardrobe things. And so when the school year start, your clothes are already laid out on the wardrobe thing. And you just take your clothes off. That when we were younger, but when we got older, we had to do our own clothes and our own ironing and stuff like that. But when we were younger, she used to spend all summer ironing clothes and hanging them on the wardrobe and so the clothes are always ready. And then it was funny too, cause back they don't do these days, but we used to have like we had our school clothes, you had your play clothes, and then you had your church clothes. So your stuff you wore to school, when you get home, you take that stuff off, and with all them kids in the house, you don't just take that stuff, wear it once, and throw it away, and put it in the laundry. You come home from school, you take that stuff off, you hang it up because you're gonna wear it again at least one more time. And then you put your play clothes on, and that's where you go outside and play with your play clothes. And then when it was church and we was going to church, you had your church clothes. And so I remember doing that. And then let's see what else I was talking about. I was talking about my mom and how she was the organization in the home. A lot of times when you got a big old family, you gotta have order and discipline and stuff like that. So basically, my mom and them, they couldn't be with us all the time. There were times when they needed to leave the house, and so the oldest ones were always left in charge, and the younger ones were required to listen to the older ones. They wasn't allowed like these kids these days, sash your back and you ain't my mama and you can't tell me what to do and all that kind of stuff. When parents are gone, the oldest one is in charge. And usually, like if my older sister, we were just a year apart. So she was usually responsible for like cooking and stuff like that. When mama wasn't cooking, she would be in the kitchen doing the rattling the pots and pans and making the meals and all that kind of stuff. My job was to make sure that the kids did the chores and kept things and did them properly. Like we had chore lists. And we made the chore list. We were saying what needed to be done, when it needed to be done, how often it needed to be done, stuff like that. And so when the chores needed to be done, somebody had to make sure that the younger kids were doing what needed to be done and doing it right. So that was my job. I was to go in and make sure that they did it right. And if they didn't do it right, you tell them to come back and do it. And then they did it, and you point out what they're doing wrong and how they could do it. And they weren't allowed to sass you back either. So we had that kind of structure in our family. And we had rules like if you didn't do your chores, we were the ones who wrote what the consequences would be for not doing your chores or breaking rules, like going into somebody's room without their permission and stuff like that. So we kind of made up our own little rules and order, and there was that hierarchy. The parents had to make sure, if the kids didn't listen to the older ones, then that's when the parents would get involved. But mostly, you ain't had that kind of problem. But and so I think when you got kids, you got a house full of 7 kids, you gotta have some rules. Parents can't always get involved in all the little skirmishes and things that the little kids get into. The older ones were taking care of that. And then we had our little rules for when people broke rules and stuff. So it was all fun. And let's see what else I could talk about on that thing. I guess that's mostly everything. And then I guess I could go ahead. Since the new year, we going into this, we started this new year. I could talk about let's see. I can start talking about my adult years now. See, I figured by the time I left the house, we were 18. Then I joined the military, and then did the like I said, I joined the military while I was in high school. Then once I graduated high school, then I went into the advanced. I went into the AIT part of my training, and that's where you learn how to do your job. And so that I did the AIT, and that was all good. I enjoyed it. I went to San Antonio and Fort Sam, and we did some. And that's the way I met. That's where I met my first husband. I met him when we were in AIT. He was in Detroit. My family had already moved to Philadelphia, so we met in San Antonio. We went out and we did some things and had some fun and stuff like that. And then once we graduated from the AIT, when I left San Antonio, then we kept in touch with each other. We kept a long relationship and stuff. We were dating for 3 years, and then we were engaged, and then we dated for a year, engaged for a year, and then we got married. And when we married, moved back to San Antonio. And so, and the fact that, with black people, the way we go, a lot of white people, folks, they go in other relationships, other cultures and stuff. Sometimes they got these trust funds, and they got college funds, and they got stuff like that, so they can send their kids off to college. Well, a lot of times black people don't have that kind of thing. So what ended up happening to these kids married young, and that's kind of what I did. I married young. I married it was 20. I was 21 years old when I got married for the first time, and basically it was like, because I remember making that thought process in my head. I was like, okay, well, I'm out of high school now, and I didn't know, and I'm young, and I wanted to make sure that I had a mate for the rest of my life, so when I get old, I will have a mate. But I was thinking that, where would I meet somebody? I'm out of school now, and I don't have the money for college. So when I better go ahead and get myself a husband so that I can have a mate when I get older, because I wouldn't know how I was gonna meet people. But I was a stupid kid. When you're young and dumb, you think dumb. And I was thinking that I wouldn't be able to meet anybody because I wasn't in school anymore. I didn't know how I was gonna meet somebody if I'm not in school. And so anyway, I thought I better get married while I'm young, and said, because you were thinking by the time you're 30, you think you're over the hill. You think you're gonna be sitting walking with a cane and sitting in the rocking chair with an Afghan on your lap. 30 seemed old when you were in your 20s. So anyway, so I went ahead and got married, but we agreed at the time when we got married that we're not getting married to start a family. We weren't going to start our family until after we both got our degrees. And that was a good plan to me. So we was going to do that. But anyway, I was in nursing. I was preparing, doing my pre-nursing school, and he was working on his degree. And so when it was time for him to change duty stations and go to the next duty station, I was still working on my prerequisites, and I still need to get go to University of Texas to go to that nursing school. So I asked him to go ahead and put in his change and let that be ask them, because when you get to ready to change duty stations, you get three choices. And so I told him to ask these people if he could stay in San Antonio because his wife was in school. He like, no, I don't want to work at old Raggedy Bamsey. And Bamsey was old at the time. They had this new Bamsey that they got now. And Bamsey used to be two parts. You had the Bamsey main, and then you had the Beach Pavilion, which was also part of Bamsey. And he didn't want to work at old Raggedy Bamsey. So he didn't ask the people to put in, to let him stay in San Antonio. So I don't know why. You don't have to wait. Black people are, they won't look out for themselves. Oh, but that's what I'm saying about black people. We don't have the trust fund, and we don't have the education fund and stuff like that you need to be set. So a lot of times we get married young, and that's okay too. You go ahead, you get married, and then the two of you working together so that you can pay your living expenses and so forth and so on. But what we mess up is when we go out here, get married, and then start these babies and start having these babies at 20, 21, 22, 23, and you still don't have a means to take care of them. So no. If you got to get married to somebody because you ain't got the money for school or whatever, and you need to work together to be able to pay your bills and stuff, then go ahead and get married. But have that plan to not start the family until you get the funds, until you can afford them. Because when you get married and you have them babies right away, then you done compounded your problem. First of all, you ain't got the money for your living expenses, and now you got diapers and bottles and cribs to buy. So anyway, take your time. Ain't no need to hurry. Life is a marathon. Not a sprint. Not a sprint. So anyway, what I was talking about, so the man went on, and so when he didn't put in for the thing to stay in San Antonio, he got his orders, and they were sending him to Hawaii. And he thought I was going to pack up and go. And I told him, no, I'm not going. I'm staying until I finish. And I'm going to stay here. You go on over there and put us on the what do you call it, the housing list. Because when you go sit to your next duty station, you don't get to put yourself on the housing list until you get there. And so I would have dropped out of school. And then I would have been going to Hawaii, and then I would have been waiting to go get accepted to the University of Hawaii. We'd have been in a hotel waiting for me to get accepted to the University of Hawaii so that I could go, finish my schooling, because he finished it. He got his degree, and so so now it's my turn to get mine. And so anyway, so I told him go on ahead, and I didn't see that to be a big deal, because all our lives, that's the way my parents worked it out. When we had to make a move, Dad would go ahead, get things straight, get us a place to live and stuff, and then he'd send for his family, and then we come down, and then Mama would get us enrolled in school, and we get our little house all set up and make the house a home, and get the accents and everything you need to make your house home. So I ain't see no problem with the man going ahead, and then he'd go get us on the housing list. And meanwhile, I would stay here in San Antonio, and I would be working on my finishing up my prerequisites. I would apply to the University of Hawaii, and then we would be on housing, and I would be accepted to the school, and then I could pick up from there. And so that was the plan I thought was going to work out. But, that didn't work out, because the man went over there. He got the girl pregnant, because he was like, I don't want to be over there. I don't want to go over there without you. And like I said about my dad picking up, Dad used to say, don't go picking up issues, put them in your pocket. And he was like, he didn't want to be without me. He didn't want to go over there without me and all this other kind of stuff. To me, that's his issue. If he can't be without me, then he got to work through that. You pull yourself up by your bootstrings, and you do what you're supposed to do. And what you're supposed to do is go over there and put us on the housing list and wait for me to get accepted to University of Hawaii. Woe is me, make me drop out of school and then come sit in the housing, eating bonbons and watching soap operas while I'm waiting to get accepted to school. So anyway, so I didn't see that I need to be dropping out of school to be following him yet. I'm going to come once I get accepted to university. That made sense to me. But anyway, he got over there, got a girl pregnant. I found out after the baby was 9 months old. So you carry a child for 9 months, and then you have the baby. So it was like 18 months after I found out that the man had got the girl pregnant. But anyway, and with the private, he wasn't even living on post anymore. He'd already moved into the house with the girl. So, what can you do about that? So anyway, that was the first situation that I had, and that I had to deal with. And I was glad to have found all that out before we started a family. We didn't start it. We didn't have any kids. So when I found out he had this girl, she had 3 babies. One baby was white. was by a white man, one baby was by a black man, and the third child she had was by a married man, my husband. So what you gonna do about that? So that's not the kind of people you want in your orbit. I don't want to be dealing with this kind of stuff. So anyway, we had to go to get the divorce. I didn't contest that divorce. Now I signed. I did. I sort of signed. I just didn't contest it. But I scribbled on the little line that you're supposed to scribble on. But it was still heartbroken and all that kind of stuff. But it was the right thing to do. We talked about how we could make it work. He wanted me to stay in the marriage, and I would be the main squeeze, and then she would be the, like it's all like sister wife kind of situation. I didn't know, can't do that. And then I said, well, we could take the kid that they had, and we'd raise her, we'd adopt her, we'd raise her as our own, and we raised her as our own, and the lady wouldn't have anything to do with the kid. And she'd be like, no, she wouldn't go for that. So those were the two options we had. His way wouldn't work for me. My way wouldn't work for him. So we had to go. We got the divorce. And so then 20 years later, it might not even been 20 years, it might have been 10, 15 years later. Well, they divorced anyway. They got divorced too. But then his question to me was, why didn't you fight for me? My thing was, you ain't gave me nothing to fight for. You see, like I'd always said that I'd be making decisions for my children before my children were born. Because that was a decision I made for my children. I weighed all the options and all of that. But my thing is, when I married the man, he had no kids. Now all of a sudden, he not only have a child, but he would have stepkids. So that means if he and I had a baby together, that means my child wouldn't be his firstborn. It would be my firstborn, but it wouldn't be his. So now my kid got a half sibling, plus she got these step siblings and all that other. So I would be picking up all those issues, putting them in my pocket, and carrying them around. I wasn't okay with that. I didn't want no part of that. If I was gonna marry a man who had kids, if I was gonna be a stepmom, I want to make the decision to be a stepmom. I don't want somebody making that decision for me. Like I don't have any kids. If we get married, he doesn't have any kids. Now all of a sudden he have a child outside the marriage. Now I'm a stepmom. No, don't want that issue. Won't put it in my pocket. And I don't have no problem with stepmoms. I got siblings who are stepmoms and stepdads and stepmom, whatever. No stepdads, but whatever. I'm just saying, I ain't got no problem with that. But that's something you should choose. Nobody should be pushing that on you. Nobody should just distribute that to you and tell you to pick that up. So anyway, that's the way I be trying to live my life. I be like to make, like I say, the author of your own destiny. So that was one thing. So that was the first marriage. And so that one, it was okay. That's something that's in the rearview mirror. He and I still consider him amongst my oldest and dearest friends. He didn't just say, well, you too bad, so sad, now you figure it out. No. The man did right. He made amends. He apologized. He took ownership of the situation, and he made amends. We were divorced. I was still in school, but he still continued to pay my allotments and stuff like that. So even though I was in San Antonio, he was in Hawaii, he was still sending me money so that I can continue. Because I was in school, I had bills to pay, I had a car note and all of that kind of stuff. And so it was much easier that I was getting the help from him still. And he could have pulled all that back. He could have stopped his allotments. We weren't married anymore. But no. We had an agreement. And so he stuck to his program. He stuck to the plan. He messed up. He apologized. And he made the amends. And so once I graduated from college, he was able to stop the allotments. And so that's how that went. And ain't nothing wrong with that, because when people say I'm sorry, all you can do is accept the apology and keep on moving. And like I say, it doesn't have to be something that's going to carry with you and be a negative outcome all your life. But things turned out. Okay, so anyway, that was that was in my 20s. And then other choices that I made when I was out here making decisions for my children was when I was free, single, disengaged, no longer married. I was out in relationships. I was dating and carrying on, but I wasn't out here getting myself in a position so that I could get pregnant. Because I knew that I wasn't going to be I didn't want to have a baby out of wedlock. I made that decision. And when you go out here having fun. I think when you all watch these movies on TV and you could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes into a program, and then they be having all kinds of issues where these people be out here getting all intimate and stuff like that. And these kids be watching these shows and they be thinking like that's real, But when the director says cut, they cut. And then them people go play. But if you go out here conducting yourself in your life like they do on Hollywood, there's no director to say cut. And then next thing you know, you all involved in a situation and you putting yourself at risk to be pregnant by somebody that you may barely even know. And then if you get pregnant by, who knows what the situation gonna turn out to be. You just gotta and then I think when you're having sex with these guys or girls, I say, it takes the fun out of dating. Dating is an opportunity for you to get out and explore people, have fun with people, and stuff like that. But if you getting all caught up in this libido crap where you feeling like you're responsible for somebody else's libido, then you messing up because now you got to be concerned about who they seeing when they're not seeing you and who's texting them and all that. That takes all the fun out of being around and being free, single, disengaged. Because then you get too serious with somebody. I think, to me, at least it worked for me. Going out dating people was exactly that. You go out dating people. But no, I wasn't serious about anybody because I was so caught up in wanting to do what I needed to do. That was get through school first, and then after the school, it was just getting through and enjoying my career, going out and enjoying that. And so I did quite a bit. I did when I was young, going out, having fun, going out on dates, and trying different things, museums and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know. I guess I think that worked for me. I don't know what works for these young people these days, but I think people get too serious too early. Especially kids be marrying these men right out of high school. First of all, you date them all through high school. They still under mama's rules, and so as long as until they get out of their own home and start following structure on their own, you don't know who these people gonna turn out to be. Just like the 30-year-old man that I married. I mean, as long as he was in school and following rules and trying to follow a program, he was all good. But once he graduated and got residency, finished all that up, and now he in charge, he's accountable to nobody. And then that's when things went awry for us, it seems. I mean, he ain't had to he ain't had to answer to anyone, and so now he won't go out here and sow his wild oats. And we'd already had kids, and so that didn't turn out too good. I think if he had, if we, nah, I think I know if we had no kids. If we ain't had no kids, I wouldn't care. Like I say, you go your way, I go my way. I don't have a problem with divorce. I have a problem when you go out here and try and heap these burdens on my children and on my offspring. And these things, I made choices in my earliest years to make sure my kids don't have step siblings and half siblings and all that kind of stuff. Now all of a sudden, you want to yank a rug from under my kids. In my opinion, it would like taking the advantages of being born in wedlock. Won't take that away from my kids and give them these outcomes that I'd already said I didn't want. I don't want no me, he, and she scenarios. And as long as I got young kids and you got a she in your life, then that means I got to be dealing with the me, he, and she situations and scenarios. And I ain't want no part of that. That's not an issue I'm going to pick up and put in my pocket. But anyway, I'm at 20 minutes. In fact, I'm at 23 minutes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I guess I got a little bit rambly. I don't know. But I'm just trying to share my life as best I can. Tell you all about it. Like I say, I doesn't hide. Anyway, turn it off. Bye.